Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alienware Arena. Today, the Week 8 EU replay of Qware versus Ludio. I'm the FourCourtJester. With me, as usual, the Rapid Transit, doing the transity things 24/7.
Yeah, pretty much. Not quite 24/7, as I've pretty much just been asleep 24/7, as I am kind of under the weather. But hopefully, you can carry me as well as you have in the recent our recent broadcasts together. So yeah, actually, a really great broadcast today planned. It is going to be from a replay, but both of the teams actually really good. So should be a pretty great match today.
Well, guys, as we said, Ludio versus Qware. This match did happen last week. I've been asking all the teams in the Alienware Arena to record their games. The only way to get them famous is if they record the games, because we can't, unfortunately, hit up every team. I mean, there's hundreds of teams throughout this Alienware Arena, and majority of them have their games all at the same time. And I don't know about you, but an army of 100 Jesters and 100 Rapids, that could be a scary thing to do, sir.
We will rule the world with our shoutcasteriness.
Our shoutcasteriness. Alright, so I'm going to start loading up a Z game. It is a replay provided by Cabots, one of the players on Qware. But it is an observer replay, so no worries there. And we'll do the same thing. We'll load up to 10 seconds and do a 3, 2, 1. Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Let me make sure that I can fix this. I had a couple of interesting graphical glitches when starting the game earlier, just because when I was loading it up, apparently, you know, there's grass in Summoner's Rift, but there's also like places where there's not grass. Well, not so in my replay, because there's actually just grass everywhere, like in the river, inside the Baron pits, all the lanes, all the bushes. It's just like, yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous, but looks like everything is actually it's kind of having some issues here. I want to continue. Yes, I swear I just had it open 2 seconds ago, and already it's giving me some trouble. So thus the trials and travails of doing wonderful replays. I'm actually going to close that, and here we go. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and play. So, again, guys, welcome to Alienware Arena. This is an EU matchup. Ludio going to be here on our blue team, Qware on our red. And who do we got today? Double Haka, please. Going to be rocking that TF. And we got Nipram there on Sona. Support Sona, always a fun thing to see. Maokai, one of those popular jungle picks these days. And we got ourselves a Corki. Man, can Corki ever do the damage? Look at that Gangnam Style dance, Double Haka. And to round things off, Darius in our top. Who do we got there for Qware, sir?
Qware, we do have Cabots, the guy who fortunately sent us this wonderful replay. There's also going to be Atrox, Fiddler 112, Kone, and then Playmobil. I think that's Playmobil, yeah, although with the I and the E, a little bit different than I would spell it. But a really great team composition. You can see they have a lot of catch. You got Amumu can stun out people. Kone can catch people. You got grabs from Blitzcranks and the stun from Jax. So a lot of stick-to-itivity here coming out from the red team.
Yeah, red team looks like they're going to try for something of a northern invade on top of the blue. They do get spotted out by Darius, and they decide, okay, well, it's not worth it. And I do got to say, you know, I do like it when teams pick up a Blitzcrank and they go for that invade. It's one of those really strong level 1 scenarios because of that hook. It can make or break those level 1 fights.
Yeah, it almost forces you to blow a flash when you grab somebody with the hook, and that's all that the early game is about. Technically, you should never be able to get a kill level 1 unless you have this like incredibly ridiculous CC, and there's actually a lot of CC here from both teams that could be used to that effect, but pretty normal start by the looks of things.
Yeah, going to start off blue here. Maokai blue on that Amumu. And as we saw with some of our games yesterday, Amumu without a blue is not really a very fearsome opponent. So today he will be grabbing that blue. Absolutely no invades planned. And as you said, business as normal seems to be pretty much as is. Now, one thing that we do have is that these golems, these bottom dual golems, are definitely missing. So this could lead into a nice little window of opportunity for the level 2 Corki Sona to try to make something happen in the spot lane.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the reasons that bottom lane on the blue side is a little bit in favor of the blue team, just because they can take those double golems, can get a little bit of an extra bit of an advantage down there. That's why you see so many 2v1s top lane on the red side. It gives them the same double golems, but no 2v1s just yet. It's just going to be everybody where they're supposed to be. Junglers in the jungle, laners in the lane, and a little bit of just farming to start the game out. This is kind of the way I like to start things, so that nothing goes horribly wrong early on, and you just get a little bit of a chance to kind of start things out and to really show what you have to bring to the table. So it looks like Ludio Colo, almost like Ludicolo the Pokemon. I'm not sure if that's what he's going for, but he is a tree in the forest where he belongs, taking down that red buff, and then probably moving in for a gank on the bottom lane.
Could be also that mid, but Ari is very, very far back. There's been a lot of poke going down in this bottom lane. Again, Sona, a support champion that does afford her AD carry a lot of poke combination. And Graves, you know, they don't have that sustain. They only got that Blitz. I haven't seen Blitz actually throw down a hook yet, though. Very curious.
Yeah, you really kind of want to wait for a later opportunity. If you land one level 1, that's great, but you won't have the knockup. If you land one level 2, I guess that's pretty optimal. But to be honest, with the recent nerf to Blitz's health, I think that actually hasn't been implemented here. There was the grab there and the knockup, so to answer your prayers, but yeah, as you can see, not a whole lot came off of that, and almost as much damage done to Blitzcrank as was Sona. So you can see a little bit of an equal trade there. And maybe that's not why he's not necessarily going for those trades, because Blitzcrank doesn't have any heals, and you can already see Sona almost back up to full health.
Yeah, hard to break into sustain sometimes. So, you know, I do believe this is the new Twisted Fate model, doing that Gangnam Style dance. And Twisted Fate versus Ari mid really comes down to, can those cards hit her? I mean, he's going to be able to clear these waves, no problem. But if she lands a charm, it just feels much more powerful in a combination.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's going to be something that will probably come into play a little bit later on, or if we do actually see a successful gank out of Ari. It's going to be kind of rough until then if she can't land those skill shots, but definitely something that's going to keep getting more and more powerful as the game progresses.
Now, I do believe the top lane did head on back. Purjo did go back to town. He picked himself up those boots to go with the regrowth pendant, and he does have that ward 6 health potions. I wonder if that's a little bit of a precursor to just how well he's doing this top lane. I mean, he is a little bit behind in CS. Jax does have all 4 of his potions, and he hasn't had to go back to town, which means he hasn't even had to spend one yet.
Yeah, 6 health potions. A little bit of a throwback here. I want to mention something about the new Twisted Tree line. With the extra starting gold, you can literally start with boots and like 18 health potions. It's almost that ridiculous. It's great because you just literally sit in lane or in the jungle forever, and you can do whatever you want. And a little bits of similar thinking here out of our good friends here. And looks like as far as the gold count's concerned, it's still dead even. But Darius, you can see kind of bullying around Jax, so that could change when Jax hits level 6, although Darius hitting level 6, not something you really want to hold out for.
Yeah, Jax does have that tendency of just becoming that much harder to engage once he does get that extra burst, as well as the extra on-demand armor. That really does make a big difference. Another hook going down, not going to be landing today on top of Corki. So bottom lane 42 to 38, pretty much on par, less than a creep wave between them. And of course we did start off with those 2 extra golems for our Corki. So he's going to hit 6. Much quicker than we're going to see Graves. So I wonder if, again, we're going to look for a window of opportunity.
Yeah, and you can really tell that Sona knows what she is doing. There's a little bit of an attempted gank there in the middle lane that we just saw, but nothing really coming out of that, as both junglers were there. An excellent counter gank opportunity. And then with the missed grab in the bottom lane, it's, I don't know, it feels like not a whole lot of action is actually being accomplished. And you can tell that Niparan knows what she's doing on Sona, that I was saying before. She waits for the Blitzcrank grab, baits it out, and then is able to reestablish her position in that lane. And that's what supports are there to do. But with Amuma coming down here behind Corki, it looks like could be in for a little bit of trouble if that bandage toss manages to land, which it does. And with some turnaround damage, Kabot's actually coming out of that situation pretty low, but once again, just nothing really coming out of it.
Yeah, nothing yet again, but here we go. Maybe a first blood in the mid. We do got the charm combination, and it will be an exchange in that mid, but Ignite's going down, flashes those cards, finally able to hit their mark, and Ari goes down for the first blood. Unfortunately, charm, tower, That's a lot of damage to kind of try to deal with. So, yeah, 1-for-1 in that mid. In comes this Maokai bottom, but there is no Corki to follow it up. Just throws a present off to Blitzcrank. He should be thankful he gets any presents this year. But 1-1.
Yeah, and I really like that. I feel like there's a little bit more micro coming out of Twisted Fate. He might have been able to sidestep that snare in the middle lane and maybe come out of that situation with his life. But just things at dead even across the board. A little bit of a gold advantage coming out from just some CS numbers. And man, that Twisted Fate has some pretty long legs, if you ask me. As somebody with long
exactly what
legs,
I was just looking at.
really, I was just watching him walk back to lane, and I'm like, that's literally like over half of his body is just his legs. And I mean, maybe he's like, Mr. Fantastic or something, but I don't know what's up with that. But hopefully, as they do work on scaling the models, he can get a little bit more of that done. But it does look like he's either going to take Wraiths or just drop a ward. Could actually gank top lane right now. His ult is available, but with the top laners kind of going back and checking out what they can buy, not a lot of ganking or really action going on anywhere at the map.
Nope, it's all about the farm at this point. 1-1, I mean, both our mids did get those kills, a little bit of extra gold going towards that Twisted Fate. And Twisted Fate, he is pretty much on par with Ari. Ari going to clean up her own race. 57 creeps a piece. But I do think that Twisted Fate comes out a little bit ahead in gold. Let's say it's 2,670 to the 26, basically 70. Yeah, that first blood bonus is pretty much negated.
Yeah, and that's almost the entirety of the difference that we're seeing here in the gold count. It's just that and a little bit of CS and dead even. Twisted Fate, however, I don't know. He's besides the junglers kind of hugging there in the jungle, Twisted Fate going straight for the ability power from the needlessly large rod. Stun, like you said, didn't land, and really just a whole lot of there's Twisted Fate going to come in there, and with the Darius dunk, ugh. There's not a whole lot to say about that. It's, oh wait, tons of true damage, and then the pull for even more.
The Darius Dunkmaster doing work, and that double kill coming down. Yeah, it's all about the Twisted Fate Destiny. Once you get that Destiny rocking, it really does become a very nice mobile ganking platform, just like you would see in a Nocturne, just like you would see in a Pantheon. But those gold cards, man, they can make or break those fights. So a good pickup here from Ludio. 2 kills, 4-0. That's going to kind of skyrocket their gold lead ahead a little bit, over the 2,000 mark now. And we're just going to go back to lanes. Oh, man, what a grab in this bottom lane. There's the silence combination. We're going to get the crescendo off on top of Graves. Could this be enough to keep Nipran alive? The flash coming out is going to avoid most of that collateral damage, and color me impressed. So,
oh, my goodness.
Nipran.
That ultimate coming out just at the perfect time, allowing him to, along with that flash, just make it out in the nick of time. You can see the knockup from Blitzcrank was just like 0.3 seconds off of cooling down, almost up, but just could not catch up to Sona, who will live to fight another day. Oh man, I am just really impressed right now by Ludio. They have the moves all over the map. You can see the global presence given by Twisted Fate, and there's going to be a little bit of a gank attempt onto Ari, but with her ultimate, going to be able to get out of there pretty fine.
Yeah, Spirit Rush does make her a very nice candidate for that mid because of that extra mobility. Plus, the three tap, you can really get through quite a bit of terrain when you want to. But down south, the flash, the knockup, Amumu's in here as well. The sad mummy able to contribute to a kill bot lane, but it was the Blitzcrank silence. Blitzcrank overcharge, overload. Oh no, we got the Twisted Fate down here. He came down. I did not even know Destiny was off of that cooldown, but they are going to get a revenge kill. Support for support, but wow, Jungler and Twisted Fate, what a great ganking combination.
Man, and Dublahaka really making his presence known. You can see almost the second Destiny was back up. He's just like, oh, or I could kill bottom lane. And I was really questioning his build earlier on, but you can see exactly how effective it is in just that needlessly large rod, giving him massive amounts of AP, able to dodge both of those skill shots from Ari and then walk back into lane just normally. And now with no Spirit Rush, that's going to force the flash out of Ari. But will we actually see a kill here? That's going to be, oh wow, did you see the range on that arcane smash? Holy cow.
Yeah, again, those big plays going down in that mid lane. Twisted Fate almost getting out of that one, but that last desperate ignite able to once again trade in the mid. But we still are maintaining this 2-kill lead. I mean, we traded supports in the bottom. Now we've traded our mids, but that 2 extra kills from that top fight is just going to keep Ludio just ahead. That small margin, but that's all you need to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, and a death cap out of just a needlessly large rod there for Twisted Fate. It's just so ridiculous to see him already picking that up and already
12
making
minutes.
such. Yes, yeah. How do you? Okay, I wish in all of my games I could get a death cap at 12 minutes. I feel like that would make League of Legends a lot more fun for me to play. And apparently, it's pretty fun for Twisted Fate right now because he has a death cap. You can see Maokai trying to get a gank off in that top lane, but knew that Jax would just either jump or walk back to his turret, and you don't really want to be taking any free turret damage as a jungler. So really, as far as the ganks have been concerned, this game not that effective, or not as effective as we have seen them being. A lot of safety around the board and a lot of just trading 1-for-1 in kills, but a 5-3 advantage, and Maokai just keeps running into that middle lane and snaring Ahri. It usually doesn't result in a whole lot, but it's going to be enough to not pick up the kill in the mid, but bottom lane, there's a couple of kills going on there.
Yeah, we had the engage going on pretty much at the same time. Don't need the Destiny this round, Twisted Fate, because he did put up a lot of that pressure in the mid. But yeah, I did see the Maokai advance on top of Ahri leading into that. But again, Spirit Rush. Spirit Rush. Yeah, Spirit Rush. Yeah, it's a good spell, and again, that's why she is such a viable candidate in those mids. He used to be a little bit better when she could go a bit more tanky, but they've had to, unfortunately, nerf that. Here's a Mumu. He's going to try to make something happen, but his DPS output is kind of low, and that Rabadon's, we're trying to catch that Ahri right behind him with those cards, looking for that double. Mumu throwing down his sad mummy wall, and there's those cards. Man, oh man, the range on those are ridiculous. 2-for-1 exchange. Not a bad way to go.
Yeah, it's like when you're trying to hit one guy and you pick up a double kill and you're like, wait a second, there was only one per... Oh, and then you realize you had the Ahri behind the Amumu. So really great usage of the incredible range from those cards. The great thing about Twisted Fate cards is that the damage on them doesn't decay as they pierce through minions. So it's a lot different than, like, say, Ezreal ults, where it does less damage the more minions it passes through. With Twisted Fate cards, you get the full damage 100% of the time, and a little bit of a red buff steal there by Purjo. So I'm really impressed by that Darius.
Well, I mean, it was an opportunity that you cannot refuse. Jungler's dead, mid is dead. We take the mid tower. That means they have absolutely no jungle control for the next 20 seconds or whatever the respawn timer was. So yeah, let's go get that red. Let's push around this Jax a little bit. Now, that has been a fairly quiet lane. I mean, we've seen a lot of action now bottom. We've seen a lot of action mid. But that top lane Darius, I mean, he's at 115 creeps, has that kill and an assist from that little foray earlier on, which is where that 2-kill lead came into play. And he's now out creeping Jax. But look at his items. Look at Jax and then look at Darius. Darius seems to be more in it for the long haul.
Definitely, and I think that that's going to be something that we can look towards as the game does progress. I mean, it feels like it's actually a lot later than it actually is. You've got items like Death Cap purchased. You're going for the majority of a Trinity Force already on Corki, and you can see that Phage coming up huge in that last kill on, I think it was Blitzcrank, yeah. And so you can see that's that late game sort of focus will be coming out here. But Twisted Fate and Maokai, man, they are setting up a tent in that middle lane. Twisted Fate has that Destiny available. Not even needed as Corki. Really great positioning. Came up from bottom lane and was able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, once again, Maokai jungler. Maokai is such a great overall pick, and that's why you see him more and more on, because he has that twisted advance, which again Flash will not defeat. Then he has the Arcane Smash, and that by itself is about 2 seconds or so of slow and movement impairments that is just really that much. It's very crucial for anyone to try to catch up like this Twisted Fate. Had to get into range for that Destiny. As soon as one stun goes down, he casts the Destiny. By the time the combo's done, he's there with yet another stun. So, gonna take a free dragon out of that one, and Ahri is just feeling so punished at this point with 4 deaths.
Yeah, and I mean, it's you can look at that and say, well, she's having a really rough time, but then you got to realize that you're really spending most of your jungle time in the mid lane. That jungler has not had a lot of presence, say, top lane, and really that's why it's even more impressive to me that Darius has been able to do so much with that top lane, stealing red buffs and shoving Jax under turret for the majority of this game, even looking to take down the turret right now, although a really great job by Jax to try to clear out those minions in time and push him off of it.
Now, we haven't seen Maokai actually go down since he picked up his oracles, and I think about the last 3 or 4 kills he's had that oracles, and if you take a quick look at the map in terms of just the ward presence coming out from Qware, there just isn't any. There's one ward, and that's a defensive ward at their blue. That is it. Oracles starting to really shine here for Ludio. Now, we do have one on enemy Amumu, on the Qware Amumu, but Amumu doesn't seem quite as solid, does he?
You know what? Amu is having a really rough time. He's sitting at 0-2, and though he does have gold per 5s down, and it's really hasn't had the same presence on the map as that Maokai. Sitting at 4 assists, able to just set up a camp in that middle lane. And though Amu can pick up some wards here and there with that Oracles, he's not going to be able to hold on to that Oracles when it comes down to these big team fights, where he's going to drop Curse of the Sad Mummy, and then he's going to explode. And, I mean, sure, you're focusing the tank, so that's kind of bad, but you're getting rid of that Oracles, and oh my goodness, not the greatest positioning there for Twisted Fate. The Curse of the Sad Mummy results in his death, and Jack's just starting to be a beast here. Amumu will survive there, so really great by him. He actually doesn't. I was hoping that he would, but the hemorrhage stack's extremely huge, and with a lot of damage by Ahri, you're going to see one more death, and there goes Nipran, but I don't know, man. Just this fight continuing one a minute after another. It just never ends. Just kills going right and left, and even Corki just going man mode with that Twisted, or not with Twisted Fate, but with Maokai picking up a double for himself. And I don't even know what to say. This is just non-stop team fighting. It just never ends. Each side thinks that they had the advantage, and well, they wind up going 3 for 3.
Well, it basically turned into an ARAM in the jungle. Everybody came at top, but it was Twisted Fate's mistake. He did get caught out, and he did go down very quickly, but you could definitely see that they were aiming to shut down that Oracles. And why not? You get the kill on top of a Mumus, you get the gold, he's down, but then you also rob the team of another 400 gold because that Oracles is dead in the water. So maybe a little bit too aggressive, but between the hemorrhage and the ignite, we were able to pick up the kill for Darius, and then just the rest of the cavalry came in. Once all the mega spells had been done, it really came down to Corki and his sustained damage with the help of, yet again, Maokai, showing us all those CC abilities and why he is picked at such a high level of play.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's Maokai coming out of that situation with his oracles intact was the really big story to take away from there. You can see Maokai still going to have that map presence, and if you look at the ward coverage, really just that one red ward down there around the blue buff for Qware. It's not really the same situation when you look for blue wards, and a lot of damage going down on Cabos, taken down to about 3/4 health, but the real thing is the destiny it's going to allow them vision, and was that actually stolen away? No, it did go over to Darius, so he's going to have a red buff, and red buff Darius, oh my goodness, one of the scariest things as far as, laning champions is concerned. No grab there for Blitzcrank, but Ahri trying to get something done on Corki, but misses her taunt and just has to go right back out again, just not landing. And this is what you were talking about earlier. It's, can you land that taunt on Ahri? Apparently not, and that's really starting to hurt Qware.
Yeah, the taunt is just going to be exactly like that gold card. If we can land it with team support, it's just going to be GG. But we got Jax jumping right here onto Kolo. Could this be the first Maokai death? Well, second Maokai death, but he does lose that Oracles in a very... reminded me much of a duck just pouncing on that beetle. 5 of them just swarming on top of Maokai, and he does go down. So mission accomplished. We've finally been able to rid Ludio of that Oracles, but the damage is pretty much on the wall. 34,000 to the 26, a decent 9,000 gold lead now developing for Ludio. And I mean, it's only 21 minutes in. We've seen far worse discrepancies, but that extra gold, it's really coming through in some of these items, Rapid.
No, absolutely, and I think that's the real thing. Like we saw to begin the game, the super early death cap on Twisted Fate was able to have that huge map presence, and now with the Trinity Force completed on Corki and Darius picking up a Warmog's armor, things are only going to get better for Ludio. They've been able to establish a huge map presence across the map, and really the thing that tells me that they're going to be able to keep this pressure up is that they've been so dominant with that, each champion being used to what I would consider some of the fullest of their potential, and none of these are easy champions. I mean, Darius possibly, but the coordination between all of the members here from Ludio is really impressive, and especially able to secure themselves such a big lead, almost all the way up to 10,000 gold advantage with only a 13-9 discrepancy. So somehow 4 kills results in almost 10,000 gold, and it's not just the kills, it's how well they've been able to position themselves across the map, whether it's in the farming in the laning phase, whether it's team fighting, whether it's just putting enough pressure to secure such a high CS advantage. It's just really impressive to see what they've been able to accomplish, even though there's not that great a discrepancy in the kills.
Yep, creep scores, kills, global gold has to come into this. Remember, we got 3 towers down for Qware and 0 for Ludio, so that's a really big advantage. Plus, the 1 dragon did go to Ludio. I mean, that by itself is pretty much 600 gold a person right there. But we got that grab onto Amumu. Kabat's able to just shrug it off. He is slightly tankier than he used to be. Has a little bit of extra armor, has the ruby crystal. If I have my guess, I'd say he's going for an Aegis of the Legion. But, you know, we're still trying to make something happen here. We're still picking on that Amumu, but no, it's going to be Maokai jumping right into that area as well as Graves. Blitzcrank just kind of wandering around, not entirely too sure which fight to focus on, but it is going to be a lot of damage landing on top of that Ari. She should be going down in fairly short order, and some good kiting skills coming out from this Twisted Fate. Can the DPS take down Amumu? No, it will be the 1-for-1 trade, but Darius going, oh no, sorry, that's Graves. Graves finally dropping as well, not Darius. Overall, 3-for-1. I mean, kudos, Ludio.
Yeah, you can see Twisted Fate trying desperately to micro to the best of his abilities. Almost avoided the snare there from Amumu. Almost got out of the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but just barely on the edge. Got caught, got taken down, but like you mentioned, it was a 1-for-1. And Amumu right now at 0-4 with those 5 assists is starting to feel the pressure. You can see he wants that Aegis. And then you look over at Maokai. Has a Glacial Shroud and a Negatron Cloak. The guy is just infinitely more tanky, and it's just really showing up in these team fights. Sure, Twisted Fate did go down there in that fight, but really not the worst situation. I feel like if the team fights continue to go this way, it's really setting up Ludio for bigger and bigger advantages, possibly even the next Baron.
Well, there goes the second dragon of the game, 24 minutes, so we're going to see the next one about 30 if we do get to there. And I was just actually watching Blitz, trying to think, what is Blitz going to be doing? And he's taking this opportunity to just ensure that the Baron is not being taken. I mean, it was a 3-for-1 exchange. We had a very strong Ludio team by the end of all those team fights. Could have easily been at that Baron, and you can also see him now throwing down a lot more of those wards. In fact, the only oracles on the map right now is on that Blitzcrank, so we do have a vision advantage to Qware, but I'm not too sure that's going to make up for the damage that's already done. Almost 12,000 gold coming out here, Rapid.
Well, I mean, when you look at the team composition for Qware, they have the potential to come back in this. Anytime you have like an Amumu or a Blitzcrank on your team, there is the potential to pick somebody off to get a really great team fight where they're just all CC'd for a million years and they can't really do anything about it. But to be honest, the chances of picking somebody off is really kind of low, as everybody on Ludio is extremely tanky or evasive. I mean, Twisted Fate probably the most vulnerable, but even he has Destiny, so he's going to be able to see things coming if he presses that in time. Corki has Valkyrie. Darius is super tanky with that Warmog's armor already completed.
He's talking about picking off someone. Check out that Aruna Kona.
You know, right as I was saying that, I was like, you know what? Ari isn't with the rest of her. Oh, she's dead. Yeah,
Yep.
That's what happens when you don't stay with the rest of your team at this late phase of the game. That's going to be the first inhibitor of the game. And from here, it looks like it's all downhill for Qware, as Ludio just keep pressing their advantage, taking down that top turret, and then continuing to like I said, press their advantage. There's buffs up. There's a lot of potential for them to make a huge showing here. And Twisted Fate, a little bit low, but after that Amumu ult, you can see exactly what I was talking about, as just picking people off, something that is really going to help Qware as they attempt to get back into the game.
Yep, instantly destroying that Twisted Fate, but that's okay. Sona with the long range auto attack. Darius going to be flashing over that wall, gets himself that Blitzcrank. Somehow Sona still alive. Here comes Ari, fresh from the grave, looking for that vengeance. Unfortunately, will not find anyone to pick off, and she goes down yet again. That was effectively a 6-for-1 trade. That's what that was. We picked off Ari, got the tower, the inhibitor, 4 more. Ari comes back, dies again, and you got to give it to Ludio. Their positioning was just phenomenal.
Well, yeah, and especially Nipran living there with like 0 HP, and even sort of that alone baiting out that kill on Ari. Ari was just like, you know what, we got to get something done here. I'm just going to use all my charges of Spirit Rush, but had one more, just so much CS, she was unable to get the last one off, and then go in there and pick up the kill on Sona, who was almost dead, just waiting there to be picked off. But unfortunately, Ari did go down in there. It's 22-11, and that's doubling up the kills, and even if you look at the gold count, it's like 15k gold in the differential, and you can see Maokai starting to finish up with a Frozen Heart, the Lichbane Death Cap, looking for a Zhonya's next on Twisted Fate. Just so many items starting to be completed. Corki with a Trinity Force Bloodthirster, Trinity Force on Darius as well, so just immense amounts of items starting to be formed as Ludio looks towards Baron.
Now, I don't know. I'm not too sure that Ludio really needs Baron to finish up the game, but if they're not going to get contested at it, of course, sure, why not? Take a free one. And it almost feels like that they should have used it to bait, but I mean, it's pretty obvious where all the rest of the teammates are. I mean, we have Vision. Let's just take a quick look. We have Vision on Amumu. We have a Vision on Ari. I don't know if they actually knew Graves was bottom, but he was hanging out by that tower, so I suspect that he actually did push that out. So when you know where majority of the opponents are, yeah, you're going to get yourself a free Baron just like that. And with just such devastating teamfight tactics so far, I can't imagine it's going to be any different with a Baron buff.
Okay, so Twisted Fate just threw a blue card with a Lichbane proc at a minion, and it did 1,200 damage. So I'm thinking to myself, huh, that seems slightly fair and balanced, and
Doesn't it?
not really when you look towards the damage that he's going to be doing, much less to champions. So that is going to be a little bit of a benefit there. A grab just not necessarily supposed to hit at all. It was at max range, but that's more than you could possibly ask for. I mean, Blitzcrank doing what Blitzcranks do, and able to pick off a lonely Sona, not having her survive like at the end of the last fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking, wow, how did that hit it all? But hey, sure, they take out that Oracle's payback. Can be a little bit of a bitch sometimes, but look at that Twisted Fate. He just jumps in there with that flash. We got the Vengeful Maelstrom going down, reducing all the damage to everyone, but it is going to be another ace coming out. Ludio, just such great tactics yet again. Bringing down that Amumu is just so very low from that combination. That Lichbane just really paying off in spades. And sure, we lost Twisted Fate, but GG, well played. They get the win, and gotta say, that was a very powerful game from Ludio.
Yes, the Lichbane paying off in spades for Twisted Fate. I see what you did there, but that will be the win for Ludio in commanding fashion. So definitely a little bit even starting out, but then you could see the teamwork, the first couple of destinies coming out from Twisted Fate, just absolutely massive. And with that needlessly large rod start and the super fast death cap, Twisted Fate just able to completely dominate the map. And then you look towards Corki's score, 8-0-7. Pretty strong in and of its own right, and just really great job shutting down Amumu, who came out at 0-6-8. So just a really, really strong performance there by Ludio.
Yep, good game, well played. Ludio takes the win in the week 8 of the Alienware Arena EU. Yep, that was EU West. So I do believe that the semifinals are going down today, and I do believe, again, November 8th is when we are going to be broadcasting live the finals on one of the tournament realms. But guys, we have more replays for you. Not right now. We do have some NA replays to go over, and I do believe 9 p.m. is what we discussed, Rapid? Is that good?
Yeah, 9 p.m. sounds great for me. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be when we will be right back here with some North American replays of, well, I guess the game's coming up to the semifinals here as we continue to cover Week 8 action of the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds.
Yep. So guys, I've been the Forecourt Jester. With me, Rapid Transit 24/7. You can find us out there: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and the Facebook. I do believe you just Rapid Transit, no ones or anything in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hit me up on Twitter. I usually tweet about all the stuff I have going on, whether it's tournament matches or just scrims between top North American teams, as well as everything I do with this Forecourt Jester guy. So hit us both up on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, and I guess we'll see you back here later on this evening.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.